Welcome to the Why Not Today podcast, where we celebrate courage, determination, the power of saying, why not today? I'm your host, Leslie Kane, and in each episode, we dive into inspiring stories of individuals who have taken bold steps, faced their fears, and embraced the possibility of today. From entrepreneurs to artists, dreamers to doers, we explore the moments when they said, enough waiting, why not today? Join me as we uncover the heartwarming, the audacious, and the transformative. Whether it's pursuing a lifelong passion, overcoming obstacles, or simply choosing joy, our guests share their journeys and inspire us all. I started this podcast in honor of my father, Patrick Kane, who often said, why not today? And remember, you're just one decision away from changing your life. And my guest today is Adam Peterson, and I will admit I don't know much about Adam. Hello, Adam, but I do know he has an amazing company, which I use and love, and it's called VipeCloud. And so in talking to his associate that's done lots of training for me, I was like, we need people to be more educated about what is out there and resources, as a lot of our listeners are small business owners. And I have found that what you guys offer with VipeCloud, which is a CRM, which a lot of people don't even know what that is. So we will dig into that deeper. What have you been able to offer me to help me systematize my business and get not only my Mary Kay business, but my new Why Not Today business going has been invaluable. And so kind of a fun thing is Adam, as we were talking about recording this podcast, was living in California. And since we got the podcast going, he is living less than an hour away from me in Virginia. So a big move. So I'm sure that took some courage. So Adam, welcome to the Why Not Today podcast. And why don't you share a little bit about you and a fun fact?
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be like physically here close by too
Yeah.
in Virginia. It has been in 1 month we picked up a family of a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, me, my wife, a cat and a dog, and moved from Northern California all the way to Virginia.
Wow.
Um, it took shipping a car, driving a car,
A
finding a
lot of
new
logistics.
daycare. Just absolutely crazy. But we're here now, and long underwear is my friend, and layers are my friend. It's not a California winter anymore.
Yes.
Um, but no, this has been great. And about me, um, let's see, I'm a California boy, right? I'm a
Okay.
California boy. I'm actually third generation California.
Okay.
And so my grandfather was an entrepreneur. He was actually one of the four co-founders of a company called American Microsystems, which is one of the old-time Silicon Valley like semiconductor
Okay.
companies.
Oh, wow.
So there's a couple of charts out there where he's considered one of the many founders of Silicon Valley.
Oh, that's pretty
Um,
cool.
but
So
yeah, from there
what's it?
I born, raised, educated, employed. Went to Stanford, majored in engineering, turned investment banking, turned entrepreneur.
Okay. Good for you. I'm excited to hear the journey of how VibeCloud came about. But what's a fun fact about you?
Fun fact: in a prior life, I was a springboard and platform diver.
Oh, wow. That's pretty
Uh,
cool.
com yeah, I competed at the national level. I actually won European nationals once, representing the U.S.
That's
And
pretty
at
cool.
one point was on track to make the Olympic trials, but unfortunately had a herniated disc and had back
Oh,
surgery 6 weeks before that.
no,
Um,
no. So
so that
I guess,
process of diving, though, we'll dive into it. But that I think is where a lot of the foundation of courage came from, because there is very physical, painful realities if you screw up.
yeah,
Um,
very much so. And I'm sure that was a part of your journey is when you hurt your back and you had to go a different direction.
yeah,
So
exactly.
what does courage mean to you, Adam?
Yeah, you asked me this, and I'm glad I had time to prepare. I think that a description of courage, what it means to me, I think is two things. It's a combination of embracing your truth and then
Okay.
taking action to change it. And I think that it takes courage, and it is courageous to be brutally honest with your truth, your strengths, your weaknesses, your circumstances, your goals, sacrifices that you are willing to make to achieve those goals, and ones that you're not. And once you get just brutally honest with yourself, from there you can take action and move in a direction that I think will move you toward fulfillment.
Love that. And I can hear the engineer in you. It's interesting because the world I live in, a lot of my guests are women. And there have been several men, but it's my brother was on my anniversary episode, my first anniversary, and he's the only one person that looked up the definition.
There you go.
So, but yeah, everybody's different, which I love it. So, VipeCloud. Tell us what a CRM is. What is VipeCloud? How did you get to VipeCloud? And I'm sure there's a journey behind there. So let's hear about, and how long have you guys been in business?
There lots of questions there.
Okay.
Definitely a journey. And VibeCloud in its current form has been in business for about 6 years. A
Okay.
lot of startups pivot, of
Yeah.
which we are certainly one.
Mhm.
Let me answer your first question. What is a CRM? Well, the acronym stands for Customer Relationship Management. And basically what it is just a place where all your customer data is. And some people start with Post-it notes or yellow pads. They will tend to upgrade to some form of a spreadsheet. And then eventually you might want a CRM. And sometimes that eventually is step one if you want to do it. So that's what a CRM is. How VibeCloud came to be is it was inspired by a prior business of mine where I was integrating email capabilities into other CRMs. And the way that those CRMs were integrating communication tools writ large was clunky or required some sort of integration or app, both of which I felt pretty significantly degraded the customer experience. And nothing against those CRMs. I think the obvious reason it was clunky is that it's not easy to do.
Right.
And so to me, it seemed that there would be a big market of companies who would benefit from having communication tools in the same place as their customer data. So we set out to make that happen. And we've now got a team, we're growing at a good clip, and we power communications for all sorts of businesses. As you know, we work with many of the top performing, probably most of the top performing men and women who sell Mary Kay makeup. We
Right.
work with nonprofits, we work with franchise sales folks, and we work with marketing agencies. Those are probably our primary buckets. But we work with all sorts of businesses who just want a single destination, a single place to manage communications, automation, and customer data.
Well, and it is very simple to use, which is one of the things I love. And I haven't even, I'm sure, scratched the surface of what you guys do. I know before we started recording, I work with through Mary Kay is how I learned about you guys, obviously. And I have somebody else that I pay to do all those things and send out all those things. And so I dabbled a little bit, but I literally set up a call with you guys in June of 2023 to say, okay, tell me what you can do. Because I knew there was so much more to this than I knew what to do. Sheets of paper everywhere, contacts, not even a spreadsheet. Often it's pads, pieces of paper here and there, and try to organizing it. So I've been able to figure it out. So I definitely want to dive in deeper to what VibeCloud does and how it can help people. But how through your process, your journey, I always try to pinpoint. You talked about your diving career. What are some of those why not today moments that got you to where VibeCloud is today?
I think I think I'll go back to the first one, which was when I quit my high paying investment banking job to be an entrepreneur. I
Was that
think that
hard?
of course it was. It was very
And what
difficult.
motivated you to do that?
It it's interesting. I think I'm wired differently than most people, but I actually believed during the job that I was not learning what I needed to learn. And said another way, I actually felt parts of me felt dumber after doing that job. Now, don't get me wrong, I learned a lot about
Yeah.
finance and financial models and positioning and business, but being a service provider, I felt I was missing an experiential component that our clients were living day in and day out. And so I made the decision um, that I just needed to do it myself. And I'm also kind of the person that was like, I came out of the womb an entrepreneur, where I
Did your
was,
parents work for themselves or did they work for somebody else? Did they have their own
they did
business?
not. They always worked for
Oh,
someone else, but
okay.
my grandfather was the entrepreneur in the
Okay.
family.
All right.
Um,
Because often I found that a lot of people that are entrepreneurs, they will model, they've watched it. Like my dad owned his own business my whole life. So I watched that.
Yeah, I was just born with a screw loose or something. In high school, I sold
That's
ads for
awesome.
some independent newspaper. I at one point started making and selling potato cannons to other high schoolers, and I brought
Oh,
Pog to my college campus. I was constantly just trying to create, trying to build.
right. Love that. So what was your first business?
My first business after I left the bank
And
was
did you
actually.
have it going before you left the bank? Had you established it or you just jumped?
Yes and no. I knew what I was going to do, but it wasn't really a business at the same time.
Okay.
I just knew I needed to leave.
Okay.
Um, and so what I did is I actually consulted college kids on how to interview for jobs.
Okay.
Because that was a strength of mine. I had gotten every job I had interviewed for, and I tried to figure out how to productize it.
So you
And
came up with
then,
a formula.
yep, came with a
Yeah.
formula. I don't know if it would apply today. Times are quite a bit different, and
Yes.
now machines for everything. But
Right.
Um, but I then had I also knew from the get-go that I was going to need mentors. And one of my mentors told me in one of our meetings that, hey, this consulting, it could turn into great, right? It could turn into something great, but it's always going to require hours of your time. If you can figure out how to productize it, then you could be sleeping and still closing clients. And
Right.
so that was kind of the trigger that started making me really question and think if how I could do that. And so I ended up uh, starting at my next first software business was video interviewing. Um, Relatively soon after YouTube came out, I started thinking that corporations were going to need structure, and you couldn't just send a YouTube video to somebody, but you were going to need to track it, to manage it. There just needed to be a process around using video in interviews, but there were obvious benefits to it, from
Right.
time savings to condensing the process, benefits to all parties involved, really. And my very first paying cut, well, I guess he's in the news for all the wrong reasons today, but Bad Boy Records was our very first paying customer years
Okay.
and years and
I've never
years
even
ago.
heard of them. So,
Well, then we'll leave it at
okay.
that.
Um, yeah,
But that's what started. Is it
that's
started
awesome.
as a video interviewing, but as with most entrepreneurs, it didn't really take off.
Right.
One things I learned about enterprise software is you kind of need to understand enterprise software before you can truly create something that's going to fit within the ecosystem, because all these companies have other systems that they need to work with.
Right. So
But
what
we did
exactly
what we
is
could.
enterprise software?
Think of it's just it's software that that enterprises use,
Okay.
and they just have a whole bunch of it, right? It's kind of like a tanker where
Right.
eventually there's just inertia and there's momentum. And so as a go-to-market strategy, we did end up integrating with Oracle and getting our video interviewing tool inside Oracle's people management system. Basically, what this is dating myself, but they had purchased PeopleSoft and turned it into Oracle and so on and so forth. But it still just never really took off. And so we shut the company down, and then tried to actually, before we shut it down, we reframed it and tried to say, could we switch this from video interviewing to video sales? Um, Salesperson, hey, video email type thing.
Right.
And again, interesting idea, not something that's like a really, really big idea. But it was easier to sell into a revenue generating part of a business than it was into a cost center. When HR is effectively a cost center for a company,
Right.
and so their budget is limited. But when you sell something to a sales team, say, hey, this could make you more money, there was a much higher risk appetite for something new like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So in your journey from all these businesses, any why not today moments that you remember exactly where you were, what you were doing when you made a pivot in your life and completely changed it?
Uh, Several of them, actually. I do think the investment banking one was one that kicked it off, right? That the
Yeah.
decision that I needed to leave and go on my own. The next
Which my
one was.
story is kind of we kind of parallel a little bit that I had worked, my background's in finance and I was working in a bank. And then went to a broadcast consulting firm and discovered Mary Kay and quit my job 5 years later. And again, it was like hadn't replaced an income. I wasn't sure what I was doing with Mary Kay. I knew that it was much better place to be, and I made the leap. And I remember my mom called me like every day. Are you serious? Are you sure? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, this is not for me. And I don't think I am very employable.
I I might agree with myself, but there were other dots or pivot points or moments that I certainly remember. So when we were on this video sales, I almost sold the business.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was actually discussing late one evening with the CEO of the company that was going to purchase, just me and one other developer, call it an acqui-hire, where they were hiring us for our skills more so than the product we were bringing to the table.
Right.
And that was on a Monday night. Wednesday, a company offered him $450 million for his business,
Oh, my goodness.
and he stopped returning my calls.
Yeah,
And I don't hold it against him. I would have done the exact same thing. But
absolutely.
that was it created a bit of a force function where I'm sitting there with this business that I thought I had sold or was about to sell, was not truly passionate about building it, had some money left in the bank that was just enough for me to think I could do something else. And so that's what led me into the next business, which was integrating email capabilities into CRMs.
Okay.
And so I kind of went deeper and deeper and deeper into enterprise software. And
I was gonna say, and
one of the
often it's the why not say moments, or when those things happen in your life where it's not a positive thing. You're
yeah,
looking at it like, oh, I thought I sold a business. Now what? And you kind of have to pivot, and you're forced into those next things that if it's all comfortable would have sold, who knows where you would have been.
exactly. And I could have gotten a job. I could have done whatnot, but I kept thinking, why not? Why not? Right.
Why
This
not
is that.
today?
Why not today? And so on that journey, again, I actually developed a relationship with a business, had agreement for them to purchase the company. We had agreed on a price and everything. And then it was 12-month away. So we were going to work together for 12 months. And about 3 months before the deadline, the CEO of that business just decided he just wanted to get out of it. Unfortunately, he did so, I'd say, in an unprofessional way. But the punchline is I ended up yet again with this situation of I had even more cash in the bank now, but not enough to be like, I'm gonna go sit on the beach,
Right.
but enough to be like, okay, what can I do? I don't want to get a job. I love building and creating and adding value. There's something magical about creating something from nothing. There really is. And
Yeah.
so that turning point was actually what led to VipeCloud in its current form.
Okay.
Is was hey, I was integrating email capabilities in other CRMs. They weren't doing it right. Maybe there's an opportunity here. Went for some trail runs, really thought it through, and that's what brings me here today.
So what's the name stand for, VipeCloud? And then let's talk about VipeCloud. Is there a story behind the
But
name?
it doesn't. I joke it's a backronym, which
Okay.
is not a real word, but it's something that sounds like it should stand for something, but it doesn't.
Okay.
Um, it's
So a story behind it. Just
it just Vibe Cloud. Yeah.
okay. All right. So VipeCloud. I love VipeCloud. And it's, as we said, a CRM. And I love how you kind of um, dumbed it down a little bit to say it's where all the customer data lives. And so for me, it has been life-saving in starting a new business. And what I love about you guys, and I always say, is one, that you're small enough that you have real people you can talk to. I've been fighting with Google for months to try to get a business listing and even talk to experts that are associates with Google and still not working. And so what I love about you guys is there's somebody that will walk you through it, walk you through the training. You have tons of videos, but there's been things like in redoing my branding. I reached out to Drew and I'm like, I need a couple fonts. He's like, okay, I'll add them. There's a couple things I've been interested in. You guys are like, okay, we'll look into adding that to our software. And so you're open um, to helping and to growing with business owners. So I use it as it's really been an amazing system with Why Not Today, especially the events I've done. Like literally, I had a Why Not Today moment last January, and I'm like, I'm going to start hosting a luncheon. And within a few weeks, I had my first luncheon and I had sign up sheets.
Mm.
Or sign up forms. I have emails. I have autoresponders. I have all the things that you guys have done. It's literally pushing buttons and it's a system now and it's super easy. So talk about what you guys can do is, if somebody is listening and they own a business, they don't even know what the heck a CRM does or how it can work. Like, let's start from the beginning and then talk about some of your big things that you have doing. One thing I'm excited about that I think you're adding is courses. So I love how you're always adding things.
Yes.
And I haven't gone over to the texting yet because I use another platform, but I'm looking into that as well. So let's talk about VipeCloud. What do you do? How can you help a business owner?
Well, let me first address one of the comments you made, how you like talking to a human being. And I just want to comment that that is intentional. Like that is a
Yay.
part of our culture. And we lean into that. And we have found that we really hope to keep that regardless of the size that we get. Because I think that, yes, we're going to have all sorts of we have, and we're continuing to grow a library of all sorts of on-demand training resources. We go live in our own support suite every week. We train on a different part of the program that adds to the library. It trains our AI bot. So when people have questions, but sometimes things are just complex and you just want to pick up the phone and talk to a human being.
Well, and people
And
learn different ways. Like another friend of mine opened a new business and her husband was so excited. He was so proud of himself. He bought her a book on Amazon on how to start a business. She's like, I'm not going to read a book on how to start a business. I'm going to talk to people. And so I think, we communicate differently. I communicate much better with a real live person.
exactly. And so that's intentional on our part. And that's
Well, it
part of what
works.
we do is, oh, thank you. And part of what we do is what's the phrase? Business. It's not rocket science, it's to what you need to do. If you listen to your customers, if you ask your customers what they want, if you just try and build the single best product for your customers, then in theory, if you've chosen the right customers that are going to grow, your business should grow too. And so that's where courses came from. And so what does VipeCloud do? As I said, we provide a single login where people can have all their communication tools and all their customer data in one place. What does that mean? It
And
means
you have an app too, which is nice. You can do it from your phone.
not only do we have an app, but the app is designed to look very similar to the web. And so that you don't have to learn two different systems.
Right.
And so I majored in product design. And
Okay.
that is this concept of design thinking, of where someone says, I want X, and you say, and rather than just go to build X, you say, wait a minute, why does this person want X? What is their underlying need? So
Right.
on and so. Um, so yeah, so everything exists. It's on mobile, it's on the web, and it allows you to communicate in nearly any channel that you might want to, whether it's email, whether it's texting, whether it's scheduling posts to social, whether it's building portals for your clients, or like think of private Facebook groups, but outside of Facebook, so no ads, no, crazy echo chambering.
And is that working now?
Yeah, that component is called Suites, and that is out and
Okay.
it's live. It is an add-on, but it's there.
Okay.
Um, as a pricing strategy, what we have decided to do is to make the core platform available for a price. And then for different capabilities and add-ons that we have, you can add it. And the thought is that rather than just increase the price for everybody and just do what's called a feature bloat and force you to use all these features, of which some other people have been doing, we think it makes more sense to kind of a little bit choose your own adventure. Kind of you get
Yeah.
some level up for the platform and then choose your own adventure. Um, and we are building courses as a new channel of communication. And
Yeah.
then
Love
through all
that.
of these, because sign up forms, lead capture, we now work with Facebook lead ads. Someone completes a form, someone completes a lead on Facebook, and Facebook sends us the information. Boom, you have a contact created. You can trigger an automation. They can opt out, they can opt in, they can respond with a
Okay.
keyword to your
I need
text.
another call. Figure out all the things you're doing now that I'm not doing.
So
Okay.
rather than overwhelm, just that's
Yeah.
why I say kind of the punchline of just any of your communication, any of your customer data, it's all in one place. And when it's in one place, it's simple. Because if you
Well,
have a system for email marketing, and a separate Excel spreadsheet. And you actually kind of have three systems, not just two, because now you have to figure out how to connect the two. And when they're all in one, you don't need to deal with that.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I love, that, I started simple with just using it to send out emails.
Yep.
And then I'm like, oh, I can do a form. And because I was using Google Forms, I'm like, why don't I use a form here? And then it has an automatic autoresponder. And then I can have a group for, like I used to have for my luncheons, a different sign up for every lunch. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm going to keep one so it doesn't change. But then with the automation, changed every month, added another group.
Yep.
So I can keep that set. Yeah, it's just does so many things. So I think people starting simple, like putting context in there. And as I've evolved, like now I'm putting notes where I met the person, because you get in front of a whole bunch of people. So many capabilities.
That's how people who are starting out should go about it. Is too many people get overwhelmed by trying to put the cart in front of the horse, right? It's
Right.
solve the challenge at hand. What is the challenge at hand? It could be that you just need a database of your customers so that you can have them in one place. Maybe your business is a lot of phone calls. You want to log the tasks, you want to start taking notes. Maybe you're going to hire someone else and now you can start to share information. Or perhaps your need right now is that you want to do a monthly newsletter and you just want to start with that. And then from there, you can start to think, okay, maybe I can start to engage with these people a little bit more, doing events, doing surveys, doing sign up forms. And then it grows. And that is really exciting to us to work with other entrepreneurs because we are entrepreneurs ourselves. And we try not to make it overwhelming. The product is very categorized out where it's, what frame of mind are you in is depending on where you'll be in the product. And you can start with a platform that will grow into your needs as your own business and your own requirements for sophistication increase.
And you absolutely do that. And that's what I love. And it's simple enough. And, once you figure it out, which isn't very hard, like I can throw graphics in and I can add video, which I love that you can add the video. And I think that's where you guys started, was adding video.
Yep.
And it all integrates, and you can post to social easily through you guys. And I actually have a question about that. I've heard that it doesn't get as much engagement if you post from a third party. Any ideas on that? I've started doing Meta more, but I don't know.
Facebook Meta is the world's best bait and switch that has ever happened in the history, where they convinced everybody to build their pages and groups on Facebook. And then they
Right.
said, now you got to pay us if you want them to see anything. And so I would say Facebook is a black box. It is, they shut down their group's API
Yeah.
so last year. So you can no longer use a group, a third-party scheduling system to engage with your group.
Right.
Um, who knows if they'll shut down anything else or add something new or what,
Well,
but
and what I've heard over and over is, we don't own our content, or we don't own our connections on Facebook. We own our email lists. So learning how to grow that email list and keep it in one, have it accessible. Because
and
like,
it's why we launched suites. So you can have very similar capabilities as you would on a Facebook page or a Facebook group, and you can own the information and you
well,
can you can
we're gonna
manage it
we're
for
gonna talk more about that, because I need to figure that one out. And talking to you, Adam, and I know we've talked a lot about different things, and if people have never used a CRM, they have no clue what we're talking about. We're going to offer a training with you guys, that I'm going to facilitate to give people kind of the next step. Also, there's going to be, I think we talked about, I don't know if we figured out, maybe um, an add-on or something special if you say that you got the affiliate. You connected because of me, and why not today to you guys. So we're looking at some different things with that. So there are next steps for people listening to the podcast. And now that Adam's on the East Coast, maybe those people in the Why Not Today Connects events, we can talk them into coming and doing something with us, and more
oh, I'd
hands-on,
love that.
teach you, plus get to know some people in this area, get you connected. So yeah, I'm excited about what's available. So right now, and I will share in the show notes, there is a link that you could sign up directly through Why Not Today. As I said, we're working on a training for this, and this is coming out in January of 2025. but we're making it. So if you listen to it 2 years from now, hopefully you'll still be around and we'll all be still running businesses and people can still connect and have the same um, connection. But I'm sure there'll be many more resources available.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's always more coming, and we're here to support people growing businesses and starting businesses.
And I
It's
love
not
that.
easy to do, right?
No.
The world's not out after any one person, but it doesn't make it easy to grow a business.
Yeah. Well,
And so
I'm loving starting a new business, and I think one of my superpowers is helping other businesses and connecting. And if I have a resource, like I have lived in this area my whole life and have lots of connections. And when people move, especially to where I live in Reston, I'm like, oh, you just met the best person to meet because I can connect you to so many people. My dad was very involved in the community and knew a ton of people, and I'm one of 6 kids, so we're all very connected. And so to be able to help other people to get tools, make their businesses easier, what I learned to be able to pass it on and then support other businesses is what I love to do. So I'm excited to have a community of people working with VipeCloud here locally that we can all share ideas too.
I love it. I love it. We're here to play our part. Let me know.
Yeah. Yay. So how would you encourage somebody that's thinking about starting a business, jumping ship from a job? Because I always say this podcast, I want to give people hope and encouragement and permission to say me too.
I I think you probably say it better than I do, right? Just go for it. Why not today is a fantastic phrase. If I were to put my spin on it and provide perspective, it might just be that life is shorter than you can possibly imagine.
Mhm.
I was recently turned on to Alex Hormozy's content
Yes,
and
I've
have
been
been
following
going
him.
down the rabbit hole with him a little bit,
Okay.
and his podcasts and stuff like that. And one of his podcasts, he talks about how he was speaking with folks in their 80s, and he realized how little that they care about certain things like what other people think of them. And
Yeah.
so, if that's where we're all going, why not act that way now? Right? Do what you love, do what you think might create fulfillment for you. And if you're not doing it, question why and really question if those reasons matter, especially if those reasons are what other people might think of me.
Yeah. And I am so passionate about that. And the whole why not today message is, we got to live our life. We are not promised tomorrow. And my part two of my why not today moment of quitting my job was it was really, as I said, I hadn't replaced an income and I was like, I'll figure it out. I can work, I can make money. 6 months later, my dad had a major stroke and he was in the hospital for like 4 or 5 months, pretty
Oh,
much.
wow.
Like when he first had the stroke, he wasn't local. He was like 3 hours away at a wedding. And I was able to drop everything and spend 10 days there when he was in ICU. And then when he came back in here and he was in intensive care and he was in the hospital and rehab for months, I was able to go there and be there because I had quit my job. And my mom and my siblings, they all had jobs that they didn't have that flexibility. And so I was so grateful I was able to do that. And then he did pass away. Um, 10 years, almost 11 years ago. And so, I've been able to have the flexibility when I was sick to be there, be there with family. Aren't you glad you have your own business that you could literally in a month move out east to the East Coast because of an opportunity with your wife?
It's a perfect example, and it exactly what you said. One of the reasons I didn't want to be an investment banker who was in his middle age and had a huge house and a ton of money, but didn't know the names of my kids.
Right.
Whereas, I'm still working probably investment banker hours,
Right.
but if there's some activity in the family, I'm rearranging my schedule and I have control of that.
Yeah, my dad
Um,
worked after, we'd finish dinner and he'd go out to his office and work. And it's funny, my sister, we were just having this conversation on Christmas, and she said, when people ask what my dad did, she said, he sits there on the desk with his feet on the desk and a pipe in his hand, and he's on the phone. Like she had no idea, but he was there for the activities, and what a difference that made. We need
yeah,
to live our life. So I always try to connect this back to my dad. And people are like, well, I never met your dad. How do I connect? And so as we talk, I talk as you pinpoint things. One, the California connection. He grew up in California. And he did he moved to the East Coast when he went to college, went to Notre Dame. But and then also just owning business as entrepreneur and sounding like you care about your family and you want to be there for your family. And that's so much more valuable than, as you said, the paycheck. And he was a planner. a city planner and he loved to create himself. But he always talked about, especially in Northern Virginia, there's a lot of people that move up in careers and making more money, so they get bigger houses and they want bigger houses, and you can move out further west to get bigger houses. And then you spend all your time driving to and from those bigger houses and you don't have time to enjoy those houses and your family.
Yeah.
So much here. So, well, thank you, Adam. And I'm definitely looking forward to connecting with you. We'll have to meet for coffee or lunch somewhere, and talk about the things you guys can do to help grow my business as well.
Definitely, definitely. Well, thank you for having me. I'm
Oh,
excited
you're
and I'm
welcome.
grateful. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So, and thank you everybody for joining us on this inspiring journey. Remember, every day is an opportunity to take action, chase your dreams, and make a difference. So why not today? You can find everything you want to know about the Why Not Today podcast at whynottodaypodcast.com. We're on all the channels, YouTube, Spotify, everything. And I'm on a mission to start a movement called Why Not Today Movement to encourage people to live their life, pursue your dreams, and do it with courage. So again, thank you, Adam, for joining us. And remember, say why not today?